So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today talking about boosting your fertility by supporting vagina health. So you're probably thinking, what does supporting vagina health have to do with anything? But it actually has a lot to do with your hormone balance and your fertility, and it's extremely important. So we'll be talking about that tonight. So very excited. So, for those of you that have just joined, I'll be discussing boost fertility by supporting vagina health. So, whether you are trying to conceive or not, it's extremely important to look after your vagina health in terms of hormone balance and fertility and general reproductive health as well. And you'll understand more about that as we go through the live today. It will make more sense as we go along. So basically, let's talk about some reasons why vagina health is important for hormones and fertility, what you can do to have a healthy vagina, hormone balance, and fertility, what taking care of your vagina health means for your hormones and fertility. So we'll discuss that as well. So basically we'll be covering those three areas tonight. So if you have any questions as we go through, just pop them in the comments box below. Whether you're attending live tonight or perhaps you're watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, I'll go back and answer those questions for you later. So what can you do to actually have a healthy vagina, hormone balance, and support your fertility? What is this important factor? So the important factor that we're discussing this evening is actually switching to non-toxic pads and tampons, okay? So that's extremely important for your vagina health, hormone balance, and fertility. So let's dive in. So basically, non-organic pads and tampons contain a wide array of chemicals, and generally they use pulp-based and wood pulp products such as rayon, which have been bleached with chlorine. So this is already not sounding great, is it? And the thing is, in terms of tampons and pads, they're actually classed as a medical device in Australia and the US, pretty much worldwide really. So it's classed as a medical device, meaning that they don't really have to disclose any of the ingredients that are found inside it, okay? So that's a huge problem, isn't it? Because we know of some things which I'll be discussing this evening that are found in them, but there could possibly be more, and they're under no obligation to actually list the ingredients on it because it's a medical device. It's not like a food where you have to list all the ingredients in there. So basically there's toxins such as dioxin, which is a byproduct of chlorine bleaching. There's synthetic fibers. There's phthalates, which is a soft type of plastic. There's petrochemicals. There is a high risk of it being genetically modified cotton. So the pads and tampons that are cotton, there's a high risk of that factor as well. Pesticide residues is another factor as well, because cotton is very heavily sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, etc. to monitor the crop against insects and things like that. Synthetic fragrances is another one that's found in non-organic or non-toxic pads and tampons. So that's an issue as well. So let's discuss why. The other thing is dioxin levels. It doesn't seem to make a difference whether it's actually 100% cotton or if it's rayon. Regardless of that, the dioxin level seems to be the same either way. So that's concerning, isn't it? And I'll discuss the sort of health implications of that and why tonight as well. So basically, at the end of the day, do you really want any of those toxins near your privates? I certainly don't. Your vagina is such a sensitive and delicate area, and it's highly absorbable as well. So anything that makes contact with the vaginal tissue, or remember it's called the vulva because that's the external part of the vagina, anything that makes contact with that will basically be absorbed straight into the bloodstream. So we need to keep that in mind, don't we? And of course, pads are making contact directly with the vulva or the external part of the vagina. And tampons are most certainly going directly into the vagina there, so it's making direct contact as well. So anything that's found on there toxin-wise is going to be absorbed straight into the body. So what does it mean for your hormones and fertility? Well, these are some of the scary things, okay? So health risks, it can actually increase the risk of endometriosis. Now that's really concerning, isn't it? There's a lot of studies and research that suggests this as well, that it's a contributing factor to endometriosis too because of the toxins found on there and the impact that it's having on your immune system, because endometriosis is in fact an autoimmune condition. The other health risk is infertility. Now, this is concerning, isn't it? So, it actually decreases your fecundability. Now, it sounds like a bit of a swear word there, but I promise you I'm not swearing. Fecundability actually means your ability to conceive each month is reduced. So, this is another health impact from them as well. The other thing is vaginal bacterial yeast. Vaginal bacterial or yeast infections, okay? So that's another issue as a result of the toxins found on these pads and tampons that are not organic. Skin irritation as well, so sometimes you might sort of experience sort of itching and irritation and like an allergic response there at the vulva. There might be immune system dysfunction, that's another issue as well. So as we discussed with endometriosis, those toxins are coming in, the immune system is overwhelmed, it doesn't know, what is this thing that's coming in, and it's on high alert, okay? So it's causing a lot of inflammation and immune dysfunction. The other issue is hormone imbalance. Now that's concerning too, isn't it? Because we obviously need our hormones in balance for general reproductive health and for our general mental health and emotional health. But also for our fertility as well, we need to have hormones being in balance. That's extremely important. Another issue is cervical cancer, so it can actually increase the risk of that. Not only cervical cancer, but a lot of different types of reproductive cancers as well. So extremely concerning stuff, isn't it? Another risk factor is diabetes. So diabetes has been there's been a lot of debacle over it being associated as sort of an autoimmune type condition as well. So that makes sense, doesn't it? There's these random sort of toxins or chemicals coming into the body, and the immune system doesn't know how to sort of react to that. So it causes a lot of immune dysfunction there. So quite concerning. Now, these are some other things too. So heavy, painful or irregular periods. And I notice this a lot in the clinic. So I work a lot with, patients that are experiencing hormonal imbalance, PCOS, endometriosis, fibroids, heavy periods, painful periods, and fertility issues. And basically when they switch from these non-toxic when they switch from the toxic pads and tampons to a non-toxic version, the things that they report back to me are usually that they are experiencing less sort of heavy periods, less pain, less discomfort, Their periods become a little bit more regular as well. So interesting, isn't it? But it's absolutely imperative to address these lifestyle factors in terms of your hormones and fertility. So I would highly recommend looking at this further. Now, another issue is reproductive and developmental issues in your unborn child. Now, that's pretty amazing, isn't it, that it can actually influence that? But it can. So, a lot of research studies have suggested this as well, that the hormone sort of imbalances and things like that not only occur with yourself, but also pass on to your unborn child as well and their reproductive system. So, that's really concerning. Now, what are endocrine disruptors? So, endocrine disruptors are basically hormone disruptors or xenoestrogens. Okay, so xeno means foreign, so it's a foreign type of estrogen, and basically the body doesn't know any different, so it comes into the body as a bit of an imposter, pretending to be estrogen, and the body is none the wiser. So it's very clever. It's almost like a chameleon. It's coming in disguised as estrogen, and the body's just going, oh, yep, you can move along and do whatever you're going to do, which is really concerning, isn't it? So basically, it's coming in, disguised like a chameleon, and then it's interfering with the production of your hormones, the release of your hormones, the binding of your hormones, and the action of your hormones, and also the elimination of your hormones too. So remember, in another video I spoke about the fact that it's important to be going to the toilet at least once a day, so doing a poo once a day to actually eliminate excess estrogen. Well, these chemicals are actually impacting the elimination of estrogen from the body. So remember, that leads to estrogen dominance or too much estrogen. So that's a huge issue because it causes an imbalance in progesterone levels, so a progesterone deficiency. And obviously we need a healthy balance between the two hormones there. So that's a concern, isn't it? And it's just concerning that it comes in and it sort of turns the traffic lights on and off in terms of hormones, and just changes all the signaling and the messaging and the release and the production of hormones. So as you can imagine, it's just a complete hormonal chaos, hormonal imbalance that results due to this. So you could either end up with estrogen dominance, so too much estrogen, or not enough. So there are some studies that actually show that there could be a deficiency as a result of this. And remember, rising estrogen levels is what leads up to ovulation. So we need a healthy rise in estrogen to actually increase the thickness of the endometrial lining, which is a nice little sort of cozy blanket for the egg to implant into. And we need healthy estrogen levels to mature and develop the follicles and your eggs, basically. So without that, ovulation won't occur, because what happens is, healthy estrogen levels will support maturation, development of that follicle, and then you get your dominant follicle, which is like your chosen one that's going to be ovulated, and that won't happen without those healthy estrogen levels. So these are what those toxins could potentially do, is interrupt that whether ovulation takes place as well, which is really concerning. Now, dioxin has been shown to reduce the number of follicles via apoptosis or cell death. So it can actually kill off some of your follicles contained in the ovaries, which is really, really concerning. And dioxin has been shown to influence the number of eggs that have ovulated as well. So that's another concern as well. and whether your baby is going to be healthy or not. Because remember, these toxins are actually influencing the development and the reproductive health of your baby to be as well. So, what are we going to do about this? Actually, before we move on to that, yeah, we talked about that. So basically in the research about dioxins, and it increases the incidence and the severity of endometriosis. So very, very concerning. Remember, dioxin is a byproduct. It's a chemical which is a byproduct of the chlorine bleaching. Because sort of tampons and pads are made from sort of wood pulp that's generally brown in colour, so they bleach it to make it white so that it's more appealing, because if we use a pad or tampon and it's sort of brown in colour or a bit dark, it's not going to be as appealing. So they do that for that reason. But of course it has so many health implications, it's not really worth it, is it? So what should we be switching to? Well, we really need to be switching to organic pads and tampons. That's one option. So we could be using brands like Tom Organic. So that's available at Coles and Woolworths and lots of pharmacies. And that's an organic brand of pad, and they have tampons as well. Which is really, really important because it means that it's free from toxins. So it's free from pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, all these toxins that we spoke about that are in non-toxic pads and tampons. Another good brand is Naturopath Organic. There's Bamboo Babes, so that's made from organic bamboo, and it's biodegradable, sorry. So that's another good one to go for. Suno is another great brand as well. So that one is also made from bamboo and it's organic as well. Now, cloth pads, that's another option as well. So there's beautiful brands such as Organic Hannah Pads. So that's made with organic cotton. And there's Juju Organic Pads. So again, that's made with organic cotton. So it's free from all those toxins, herbicides, pesticides, and all those other nasty chemicals as well. Other options are period cups. So there's so many amazing brands around at the moment. That's a good non-toxic option to go for. And they're just made from medical grade silicone. So there's no impact to your hormones, your vagina health, or your fertility. So there's Diva, there's Organic Cup, there's Tom Organic, there's Juju, there's Lynette, there's Pelvi, and there's plenty of other brands as well that are on the market too. And they're absolutely fantastic. A lot of my patients are really enjoying the switch to those because you use less pads and tampons as well, because we use, basically a woman will use about 12,000 tampons in a lifetime, which is a huge amount. So it's nice to make that switch just from an environmental perspective as well. So that's another option for you. Another great one is period undies. These are a game changer. I love them and a lot of my patients love them as well. Be sure to try and go organic if you can. So there's Tom Organic, which is available at most supermarkets now, pharmacies, and some health food stores. There's Modi Bodhi or Modi Body, however you like to say it. That one is also organic as well. Juju is another brand too, and Bonds make them as well. There's so many brands on the market, but try and aim to go for the organic cotton ones if possible. So the Tom Organic and the Modi Bodhi or Modi Body is a great one to go for. And really, you know, at the end of the day, for the sake of your hormones, whether you're trying to conceive or not, for your vagina health and for your fertility, it's really, really important to seriously consider making the switch to either organic pads and tampons, to the menstrual or period cups, to the period undies, or sometimes people do a little bit of both. So you can use the period cup along with the period undies, because sometimes there may be a small bit of leakage there. So you can couple those up, or you could do the cup and the cloth pads, or maybe you could just use the cloth pads on their own. So there's so many different options there to consider. Please, please, please consider this for the sake of your hormones. It's extremely important and can't be underestimated, that's for sure. So I've absolutely loved talking to you this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you have any questions, as I said earlier, just pop them in the comments down below, and I'll answer them after the live for you today. And I hope to see you next Wednesday. I'm actually popping on every single Wednesday evening at 7:30 to talk about something hormone and fertility related. So I'll see you next week. And if you are watching on my YouTube channel, be sure to like and subscribe. So that's just down below. And I will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining.